This Week with Bob Mueller on News 2.
This week,
Special session is over.
the special session on public safety comes to a chaotic end, resulting in reallocated funding and passage of 3 bills that require action that is already taking place.
To the question of whether it's been successful, absolutely.
Senate Republicans were alone in calling the special session a success.
This is unacceptable to not pass bills.
House Republicans wanted more.
Well, I certainly believe it was hopeful. It was difficult, as I said. It was important. But important and difficult and hopeful, those are things that we should celebrate, and I am.
The governor sidestepped when asked if the session was a success.
It's been a complete waste of time. It's been a waste of money on the taxpayers. It's been disrespectful to the Covenant families. It's been disrespectful to the public at large.
Democrats viewed the process as the GOP supermajority successfully silencing Democrats, ignoring their proposals, calling it a complete waste of time and tax dollars.
While today's inaction by the legislature hurts, it pales in comparison to the pain of March 27th. That pain and our desire to protect others from experiencing the unimaginable trauma that became our reality, it provides the energy to carry on.
And Covenant parents left feeling bewildered, betrayed, insulted, and ignored, but vowing to fight on. Hello again, and welcome to another edition of This Week. While the nation watched a hurricane in the Gulf, in Tennessee, a political hurricane landed at the state capitol in the form of a special session on public safety. It ended this week following 6 tumultuous days of anger, disrespect, tears, division, and little new legislation to make Tennessee safer. We begin with the closing days of this special session.
The Tennessee Cold War continues. Late last week, the House Republican caucus went on the offensive, blaming Senate Republicans for the impasse.
We're not upset they're not listening to us. We're just upset that they refuse to do anything. They want to do nothing. We're not telling them they have to. It's just interesting that they would rather do nothing than something.
But the Senate is holding firm.
Most legislators did not want to be here for a special called session. Many legislators, including myself, felt like that all of these issues could have been handled in a regular session that would start in January.
Caught in the middle of the stalemate are the stakeholders. Today, the Covenant Parents nonprofits expressed their frustration with how special session has gone down thus far.
We are now caught in the middle of a Cold War between the House and the Senate, at the cost of our family's dignity. As we stand here today, we see that many of our elected leaders, particularly in the Senate, have done nothing other than prove they are incapable of the job they have been called to do.
And publicly absent the past 7 days has been Governor Bill Lee, who today says he's been at the Capitol every day working behind the scenes.
It's a process in the General Assembly. We find that with every session. And frequently we find ourselves in the situation where there are differences to resolve. That's where we are right now, but I think that'll happen, and we'll see the full outcome, but this conversation's important.
While the House continues to take up legislation. It was a fitting and almost poetic way for special session to end today. What was already a powder keg of tension and emotion spilled over onto the House floor Tuesday morning. Special session is over, but not without fireworks. As the House adjourned, Representative Justin Pearson got in the Speaker of the House, Cameron Sexton's face. 2 other representatives then bumped Pearson out of the way.
And he started to yell and scream as though we had done something. Representative Jones was pushed by Representative Sapicki as well. For holding signs and demanding that we protect kids and not guns.
Security put their hand on the back, which knocked me forward, and I can't remember, there's a photographer, when you look at it, that was to my left. And so we moved right, and then at that point we keep walking, and then you have Representative Pearson that comes in and pops me from the right side.
I asked Sexton what he said to Pearson in that moment.
I told him, don't bump me.
The Senate and House Republicans were at odds with each other all week, with the Senate successfully trying not to pass any more bills.
No, nobody. We both won. We both won.
Governor Bill Lee stayed out of the public eye much of the week, but helped broker a deal between the House and Senate to close an ugly special session this morning. For now, it's sine die, which essentially means we are adjourned in Latin. And everyone will take a collective breath. But not many, both in the legislature and out, feel Tennessee is any safer than when we started.
Yet while lawmakers exited the State House, those impacted by the mass shooting that sparked the special session felt left behind. Covenant parents who have spent months fighting for gun reform say every bill they fought for was left on the table.
But every day I drop my son off, the same thing could happen again.
This week, Senate Republicans refused to pass any more bills, leading to an impasse that ended the special session with no gun reform legislation passed.
The special session has been nothing short of disheartening.
So these Covenant parents say they have a plan to fight hard come January.
Look at these faces. You're going to see these faces again and again and again.
But in the meantime, their top priority is caring for their kids who have invisible scars from that horrible tragedy 155 days ago.
The morning of March 27th, her biggest concern was what snacks she would eat that day. Since then, every single day, she worries if it will be her last.
Stay with us. This week continues in a moment.